Hello, this is Adam from Scan Pro Audio here with another video for you. Welcome everyone. Thanks again to all your views and your shares and everything, your comments. Really appreciate it, and it helps us grow this channel. So what I wanted to do today is just answer some of those questions that you've been sending through on the chat, and also give you a couple of top tips. Some things that maybe you haven't seen in the manual, just little things that maybe you didn't know this keyboard could do. So the first thing is last time we were looking at keyboard sets, and someone pointed out to me on the chat that you didn't mention the favorites for keyboard sets because there is a favorite section. So I thought what I would do is start with that. So on the panel, so on the bottom right hand corner, you can see here we've got this keyboard set library section. And at the moment, generally when you switch on your keyboard, it will always be on category. And what the category does is whenever I press any of these buttons, it will jump to the relevant category of that particular sound. So for example, piano, it jumps straight into sorry, it was on my user set then, but as you go through, you can see if I go to here, get this brand new screen display we've got here, so you can see I'm actually going through the different categories, so piano, electric piano, organ, and it's jumping through those different categories. So you can see if I press the piano button here, it's jumping. But what you can also do with the keyboard is you can actually press the category button. So if I go down here, press the category button and make it jump to favorites. So now you're looking at these numbers instead. And basically what you can do is you can pick out your favorite 11 keyboard sets and favorite them, so that, you know, whatever mode you're in, whatever sound you load, whatever style you load, MP3, songbook, setlist, whatever it is, immediately if you press favorite, select one of these 11 buttons, it will jump to that particular sound. Now, I don't tend to use that way. I use it in the other way, which maybe we can just touch on again in a minute. But it is an important feature, and it's one that we should maybe all consider using, and you may prefer using it this way. Please let us know in the comments if you do use it this way. So how do we make it work? Well, it's relatively straightforward. There's two ways you can make it work. The first thing you can do is if I press and hold this button here, what it will actually do is it will jump and show me on the screen a favorites list. So you can see these are some favorites that I've put in myself. But there is another way you can get to it. That, of course, is a shortcut way, just pressing and holding any of these favorite buttons. But also, if we on the keyboard, if we go to, let's go back to the screen again. If I press the settings button, so if you can see up here, the settings button. So if I just press settings, you'll get this screen here. Yeah. So what I want to do is simply press controllers, and then it gives us this page here. So this is where you can do things like select the aftertouch curve. If you remember last week, I was fumbling around trying to find out where that is because I said my aftertouch curve is currently soft 2. It's set to medium as standard. So that basically means if I set that to medium, and I'll just simply select a sound. So if I go into keyboard set, just pick out a guitar, just for example. If I press down hard on the keyboard, what I'll do, you can hear that sort of vibrato sound. So that's without. If I now touch down, you get that wobble sound. Yeah, that's aftertouch. So you can set that. I find the way I play and the style that I play, I'm generally too heavy-handed. So all I do is go into settings. I'll go back to my screen so you can see what I'm doing, and I set my aftertouch curve to soft 2. Normally, it kind of works for me. Anyway, moving on, moving down, we've got foot. This is where we select our controls for what how the switches operate and things like that. So basically, if I go to if I plug in a Yamaha sustain pedal into my Korg, is it going to work? Well, yes, it will. What you might find is that it works backwards. So for example, when I'm not touching the pedal, all my notes are sustaining when I let go of the pedal. You know, it works backwards, in other words. So when I'm not touching the pedal, you're getting this sustained sound, but then when I touch the pedal, it's working the opposite way around. So there's a really quick and easy way to set that. And seeing as we're here, I might as well just go through that now. Simply press calibration, and it says, simply put your foot on the pedal, which I'll do. Press this button here, and then release the pedal, press this button here. Done. So now it's set forever. It will remember that. So even if you power off the instrument, switch it on, it's set. You don't have to save it, it remembers. It's like magic. Going down, sliders and buttons. This is something probably we'll do a video on maybe, about this brand new sliders section that's in the Pa5X and some of the things that you can do with it. That's probably one for another day. But that is where you would select what each of those sliders do. Then we've got keyboard set favorite. So that's the other way to get to this favorite section. So just to recap really quickly, we simply press settings. So I'll go into my screen so again, so you can see what I'm doing. You press settings, we get this screen. You go into controllers, and then all we do is we move down to keyboard set favorite, and we're in the same screen. So that first sound there is currently one of my favorites. It's the one I demonstrated last video, which is the Macato string sound. If I don't want that, I want to change it, you just simply press the three dots. You can see where it says number 1. It says user bond, that's where it is. It's in my keyboard set library under a folder called bond. Big Macato strings layer. Then after that, you've got 3 dots. If I touch the 3 dots, it's saying, right, what do I want instead? You can see that's where it is in my keyboard set folder called bond. Well, I just want to set it to being a simple piano. Let's go for that first one, Austrian Grand. If I press exit, it's now changed. I don't have to save it, it just remembers those forever. So now, whenever I switch on the keyboard, I can literally, doesn't matter what I'm playing, whatever sounds, whatever styles I've got going on, if I simply press favorite and number 1, there's that sound. Straight to piano. So another thing that we can maybe talk about is, don't forget, when you're creating a keyboard set, you can also do things like decide whether or not you want the split point on and off. Very basic things. You can decide whether or not you want effects. You can have effects. It's not, imagine it as a registration but without a style for creating these keyboard sets. Now, one thing that you can do, which is really clever, is you can also do things like change the key. You can go into the mixer and you can change the octave, which we know because we've done that before. You might want a piano 1 octave lower than the string sound that's an octave higher, and you do all that when you go into your mixer. And you can go into, you can change the EQs and the effects and go down to tuning so you can see my screen. Let's bring it up a bit closer. There we go. So you can see, you can adjust the tuning there. Look at that for a new screen. Look at that. It's brilliant, that one, isn't it? So what you can do is you could say, right, well, this piano, I want it to be an octave higher, 12. What you can also do is if you're playing a song and you might want to play to a backing track, let's say, and it's in a challenging key, it might be in, I don't know, B or D flat, whatever it might be, but you can only play it in C. What you can actually do is, rather than using the transpose buttons, you can actually just transpose it to a different key. If I save that as a keyboard set now, it will remember that. And I do that if you look in my keyboard sets, which I warn you that they are incredibly messy. But this one here, Chi Violin, if I play this one, it's in the normal key, but if I play this one, it's in a different key. Because when I play that song, I've just learned it in a different key. So I just create a keyboard set with that key. Something else you can do is, if I select some of these presets in here, let's just go to Austrian Grand, you can see there's no split point. If I go to this one, there's not only is there a split on it, but I've also changed where the split is on the keyboard. So I've actually got string sound here, but then I've got brass here, and the lower section is brass. Yeah, same with this one. Yeah, so please look at keyboard sets and really customize these to being how you want. Now, another tip, the reason why I'm telling you this is if, for example, you are creating a keyboard set and you want it to remember the split, or you want it to remember the split point is on, but when you're loading that keyboard set, you're finding that's not happening and you don't know why that is. You might prefer to not do that. Sometimes when I play, I don't want it to remember where my split points are and whether or not I've got a split. I want to control that. And there's something in your settings that you can change. So if I go into preferences this time, I think it's in preferences. No, it's not. General controls it is. Let's have a look. And we go to lock. What you've got here at the top, these are things that the keyboard is going to lock in place. Yeah, so it's not going to, if I, for example, change the transposition, because it's locked at the minute, it will remember that, and the keyboard will not change. So if I go to a different style, if I go to a different song, it's not going to remember. It's going to remember that the keyboard is transposed. It's locked. Yeah, you have to physically untranspose it by touching them both together, or obviously bringing it back down or back up again. This is what I want to look at. Keyboard mode split full. So it's not locked at the moment. So that means that my keyboard sets now are free. I can literally, when I'm creating a keyboard set, I can decide whether or not I want the split point on or off, and it will remember that. Yeah, but so let's just go back into it again, into my little Bond one I've done here. You can see as I'm going through these, if you look at this split point here, it's not lit up. When I get to that one, it's lit up. If I go to strings and choir, it's gone again. Yeah. Now, if I didn't want that feature on, all I would do is go into settings and do it again, into general controls, down to lock, switch the lock on. So now it's currently off is a split point. You can see my little finger there. You can just see the split point is off. If I go through my keyboard sets now in the Bond, you can see it stays off. No matter what I press, it stays off. So again, a little tip, something that you're probably not aware that it does. I tend to leave that off because I like to preset all this, so you don't have to worry about that thing when you are, you know, going into your keyboard and you're doing your concert, you're playing or whatever. You don't have to remember that. So that's something else that's really, really cool. The other thing is going back into preferences again. There's one other thing just to end, because I want it to be a relatively quick video this time, but there's also a really nice feature that I don't use, but I should mention it more because sometimes people like to use it. There's two little features on this preferences page under the style section. The first one is velocity control is off. What does that do? Well, I'll show you. If I pick a style and I go for, I don't know, let's go in and I go for, let's look at B Gene Pop. Okay, so I'm sure that's going to be this song. Yeah. Yeah, so if I pick that style, you know, Billie Jean type style, what you can do is if we go into preferences, and so I'll just do it again to show you. Another tip as well is if you're stuck in a menu and you want to come back out of the menu, simply press the menu button and it will take you back to that main page. Another thing that tends to confuse a lot of people. But if we go into preferences and we go to velocity control, these are some of the things that you can change when you touch the keys hard. Now, as you know, as I've said many times, I'm quite a heavy player, so I tend to leave it off. But if we went to something like break, which is like we've covered on the style video, a fill-in kind of thing, if I now touch the keys hard, and you've got to be in split point because it works on your left hand, but if I play now, if I press hard, It's quite clever. So let's have a play. I'm going to put a chord sequence on because why not? And we'll mess about with it. What am I doing? Right, chord sequence is on, and I want to select my. That was synth lead, was quite cool. So here we go. Now I'm going to press hard. Left hand. Yeah. Again, something you probably didn't even know the keyboard does. But you can also do it where you can have it on start stop. It will literally start and stop your keyboard. You know. Bass inversion. If you're like me, and you tend to play chords not necessarily in root position, I'm an old organ player, so I play a C with a G at the bottom and all that. But a lot of people like to play in bass inversion. So you might have a piece of music where, I don't know, you're playing a C chord, but you need the G to be the bass that's playing in the thing. So you switch on bass inversion. Now, if you're like me, that plays chords in loads of different root positions, I tend to just leave it off. Yeah, if you listen to someone like Pete Shaw, as we know, is an amazing Korg artist that plays Pa5X for Korg. He uses bass inversion because he's a proper player and he plays everything in the right. So if he needs an E bass on a C chord, he'll play the C in the correct position, the C chord with an E at the bottom. But if you just want to cheat it and you want to do it for a little song, if you set bass inversion on, whenever I touch the keys hard, it switches on bass inversion. So you can automatically switch it on, press it hard again, and then it will switch it off. We've also got memory. So if you want it to hold that chord, yeah, if you press it hard, it will hold the chord. You can let go. Press it hard, and it'll lose the chord. Some great little features, but I tend to just leave it off. So there we go. So a few little tips there from me. So thanks again. Any other things you want me to go through? I know some of you have mentioned samples, Adam. Go through samples. Yeah, I need to get someone in to do that properly with me. I think I need to get Luke, my old mate from Korg, to come up and go right through some how to put in your samples and create a sound and all that kind of stuff. So that's currently in production, shall we say. That will be coming along pretty soon. So have a lovely weekend, everyone. We'll see you next week for some more videos. Take care. Bye-bye for now.